What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from the quarantine zone again, and this time we are here with Leon of Love the Hate. Great to be able to talk with you today, man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. Congratulations on your newest single, Solid Ground, topping on the top 40 Billboard mainstream rock chart. Could this single maybe serve as a good representation of the direction that Love the Hate is going into for a full length album?
I would say so. Yes. Every song we write, I noticed our songwriting ability and expression is maturing. I wouldn't pigeonhole us into it's all going to sound like Solid Ground, but Solid Ground, I think, is, I mean, no pun intended, a good foundation for where we're going for this. And yes, I did just make that up right now.
That's impressive. That's how you know this. When you can make good puns, you can make good songs. I've been noticing the formula.
Right.
Yeah. Um, but it's funny too, like because obviously this isn't the only song that Love the Hate has and stuff. Do you take a new approach to every song? Does every song tend to play by its own rules, or like is there trying to kind of like a formula that you're trying to sort of stick with?
I would every song I feel like kind of plays by its own rules. Like the next single we put out, we're not going into it with the idea of okay, so Solid Ground sound like this. Let's see if we can make it similar. It all just kind of comes together organically, and what comes out is what comes out. Now there are certain songs that are meant specifically for radio and will be written that with that in mind, but we look at our past and what we released in the past, and we acknowledge it and we respect it, but that doesn't mean we're necessarily going to stay within that circle. There are songs that we're working on now that I would say is a lot heavier than Solid Ground or a little bit more progressive than Solid Ground. It just kind of depends on how we're feeling in that moment when we actually sit down together in a room to write a song, where something completely different comes out. Whereas then on a different day, if we're working on the same song, another something completely different thing could come out and create a completely different entity. Um, so it just kind of all depends, but it all just kind of organically comes together, and what comes out is what comes out.
I'd imagine there's been plenty of times where it starts off one way and ends up in a completely different way, right?
So many times. There's one particular song that we've been working on that may make an appearance on this EP that in the course of a month changed about 8 times. And it started with like the simplest riff. And I'm just like, how is this the one that we can't figure out? And
Yeah. I mean, aren't you ever worried like the original way that you leave something is going to be a B-side one day and just be the biggest hit you guys ever had?
I don't think you can go in with that kind of mentality, because then that can become mentally crippling and give you a bunch of indecision. You just got to go in there and you got to hammer it out, and what comes out is what comes out. And if we're happy with it, then it is what it is. Solid Ground, we actually had a unique opportunity because Solid Ground used to be a completely different song. And then we were given the opportunity of, hey, we really think this song would be great for radio, but what would you do with it if you could rewrite it? And we're like, I don't know. What would we do?
Make it
So
death
that's,
metal?
and,
Hmm.
and so, I mean, that's how Solid Ground came to be. Solid Ground came from the ashes of a previously existing song and kind of Frankensteined it. And when we were able to look at it with a different perspective, Solid Ground is what we created. And, I would say it turned out really great, and apparently radio is enjoying it too, and that in of itself is surreal to us.
Do you when it comes to like I know artists it's such a cliche question to ask every artist this, but like in terms of like your level of inspiration, are you looking at more like modern rock bands on the bands of the levels of like, the Shine'Downs and the 3 Days Graces and the Breaking Benjamins, or are you looking at more classic influences that we've heard, decades ago?
I One of the great things about this band is literally every member is influenced by different bands. Like it's all encompassing of like rock and metal per se, but as you know, there's also 80 bazillion subgenres and this and that. But because like me and Marshall, the rhythm guitarist, we love thrash and death and mellow death and black metal, and we play in an active rock band. Um, you know, Doc, Doc loves Thrice and Dave Matthews and Deftones and Seether and Shinedown. He has that vocal tone of those two bands too. So I mean, we when we write, we do have like his vocals and his tone in the back of our mind. And then Frank loves Chuck Berry and Billy Gibbons and ZZ Top and all the old school people. So I mean, I wouldn't class. I mean, it's just rock and roll, and what comes out is what comes out. Like I said, some of the songs we're working on right now are heavier than Solid Ground, but yeah, I wouldn't necessarily classify like when we write a song. I was like, oh, this let's make this sound like a Breaking Benjamin song. It's just what comes out is what comes out, and what we sound like is what we sound like. It may sound similar to other bands, but it's definitely uniquely Love the Hate sound.
And it's funny too. You mentioned your love for black metal, so maybe you could try to combine hard rock and black metal in a way. Maybe make.
I would love that. Good God, I would love that. I don't know if we can make our guitar tones sound that bad, but
Hey, it's possible.
That's one of the things I love about black metal is how garage band it's like. It sounds like it was recorded in someone's garage while a tornado was going on, and that's one of the things I love about it, honestly.
Yeah. What's your favorite black metal band?
Top three: Gorgoroth, Emperor, and Immortal. Maybe throw Mayhem in there.
Okay. Do you ever listen to Life Lover?
I've heard a couple of their songs, but I haven't had a chance to like real deep dive in there yet.
That's my favorite black metal band ever. That band is insane. But and
okay, Life Lover, right? Yeah, I got to dive a little deeper into them.
yeah, but you should really troll people. Like you should take like Mayhem lyrics or like take Behemoth lyrics and make them sound like Nickelback. Like I believe in Satan who renders the heavens and earth. But then also like take like a Nickelback song and make it sound like Mayhem. Like never made it as a wise man, never cut it as a. I don't know.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Okay, you're giving me ideas for a side project.
Yeah,
that's dangerous.
Yeah, you would be called the Rockin' Trolls because I think that would be the best way to troll, the best way to troll every subgenre that's out there.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah, and your first major tour will be with Threaten.
Well, nobody would show up, but
I will. But now, at being the basis of the band, obviously in rock and roll, we've all heard our fair share of, terrible bass player jokes. But I've always said that bass is so important as it has both an emphasis on rhythm and melody. So, like, for you, do you prefer to have, like, music written before you, start laying down bass parts? Or has there ever been a time where maybe you had, like, a bass pattern that the rest of the band would write over?
So trust me, I've seen the memes, I've seen the jokes, and 90% of the ones I see are because my bandmates send them to me. So I like to go a lot by feel. It's kind of circumstantial. Sometimes a member of the band will already have a song they want to present, and then I kind of write my bass parts to that. There have been a couple of times, like one of the new songs we're working on, we were in the band room. Marshall literally said, "Somebody play a riff," and then I played a riff on the bass, and it turned into a song 20 minutes later. But when I'm given already prepared music to lay bass tracks down to, I kind of just go by feel, because sometimes it could be, okay, do I just go the route of where I'm just playing the root notes and just holding down the rhythm and the groove? Or do I have space to kind of play around a little bit and add some fills here and there? So for me, a lot of it comes down to feel. I don't want to overplay, because as much as I love, Dream Theater, and I want to play stuff like that sometimes, I don't play in Dream Theater. I play in hard rock bands. So some of what I want to do bass-wise doesn't necessarily fit the song. You play the song, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you play what the song calls for. So a lot of it goes by feel. Some of the new stuff we're working on is a little bit more progressive too, and it gives me a little bit more range to add what I want to add here and there, but it's man, it's all about the feel and the groove. Um, and yeah, that's just what it comes down to. It's circumstantial, and it's about the vibe.
And you mentioned you're taking somewhat of a more progressive direction, so we're like the song's going to be like 27 minutes long for the future.
No, 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 no. No. So what I mean by progressive is if you've heard our previous stuff, there's if I can pinpoint what we want to do on this EP, there's one or two songs on there that sound uniquely. It still sounds like us, but it's very different from what we've done in the past. And is a little bit more progressive, but it's not going to be like a 20-minute, bookend of a Dream Theater album. As much as I would love that, trust me.
6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, man, is like so timeless. Like, oh my god, I can't get enough of that.
Literally everything Dream Theater puts out. Literally everything.
Yeah, this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I think The Astonishing too is a very interesting album to really go back and revisit.
I liked it. I liked it. There were a few things that were a little weird in there, but I love concept albums. I love storytelling. And I can't remember the name of the song, but there's one solo on that record that I think is one of the best John Petrucci has ever done, which is saying something because that man is a guitar god.
Yep.
I remember when I got introduced to Dream Theater with the Train of Thought record, and I remember the first time I heard As I Am and I heard that guitar solo, just listening to that guitar solo made my hand hurt. The guy Dream Theater is just amazing. I can't speak highly enough of them. But yeah, there was one solo on The Astonishing I thought was probably the best John Petrucci's ever done.
Yeah, I miss Dream Theater every time they played in New York City. I've yet to see them live, but because they played,
that's their hometown too, dude.
Well, the problem is that the night that they played, there was 8 other big shows happening in the same night in New York City.
Oh wow!
Like if you want to hear, you had Dream Theater playing one night. Then you had the show that I was at. It was Baroness, Deaf Heaven, and Zealand Ardor at another show. You had Dance Gavin Dance and Periphery at another show. You had Pliny, the instrumental band, at another show. You had Psychroptic at another show. And you had Alisana playing at another show. And I'm already missing 2 other ones that I forgot. Oh, you had Uda playing at another show as well.
Jeez. See, we're kind of lucky because down here in Mobile, Alabama, it's sometimes the big bands come through, but it's few and far between. Most of the time, if you want to go to a big show, you have to go to like New Orleans or Pensacola or Tallahassee. But every now and then they come. A big rock band will come to here in Mobile, Alabama, and we've been lucky enough to open for most of them. But so I don't miss many shows other than when I'm Love the Hate's busy, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Now I want to ask like one little fun question because I noticed the memorabilia in the background. I love this Marvel collection you have. I like asking people this: if you were in charge of directing the next Spider-Man movie, right, you have to pick a villain who hasn't been in a Spider-Man movie yet, which villain would you want to see?
So Spider-Man is my favorite Marvel superhero.
Good.
You've just given me a very big responsibility.
I can smell burning through the computer screen. I already narrowed it down, saying it can't be a villain that's been played before, so...
I'm trying to go through all of them, because I remember that the Tobey Maguire movies came out when I was young.
Same. I was 13 when the last one came out.
I think... I'm 31. I think we're about the same age then.
Yeah.
What was his name? Not Sandman, the water Hydro Man.
Hydro Man.
The water version of Sandman.
Yeah,
I don't believe he's been the villain yet.
Nope, he hasn't.
So he would be cool.
Not Carnage.
Carney would be cool. Has Kraven the Hunter been in one yet?
No.
Or is he going to be in this new one?
I don't know what he's going to be in. I
keep hearing rumors that like Keanu Reeves is going to play Kraven the Hunter, and I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Yeah, John Wick. Let's do it. But like,
I heard a rumor that if they were going to get Carnage, that they would have Jim Carrey playing Cletus Cassidy.
Well, the thing is, there's gonna be, the Venom 2 movie has Carnage, and it's Woody Harrelson. I think Woody Harrelson is a fantastic casting for that, because Woody Harrelson, even though he's not like the greatest, considered one of the greats, Woody Harrelson is an amazing actor. Like, he can do comedy, drama, and like completely crazy psycho. So I'm very excited to see him as Carnage in the new Venom movie.
Yeah.
Um,
But they should. I
but
want to see Shocker. I know they had Electro in the last series, but they need Shocker.
I think Shocker is just a little bit too close to Electro. I mean, not for, I mean, the electricity thing, like, it's kind of already been done. I would like to see Shocker, but I wouldn't see Shocker as a main villain of a movie. I'd see him as like maybe like the first villain that Spider-Man encounters in a movie, takes him out real simple.
Or Spider-Man. Mysterio.
Well, Mysterio wasn't Mysterio in Far From Home. Didn't Jake Gyllenhaal play Mysterio?
Uh,
Or who would eventually become Mysterio?
Dan, what did you say?
Yeah, Mysterio was in the last Spider-Man.
Oh, Mysterio was in the last Spider-Man. I need to.
Yeah. I thought Jake Gyllenhaal played Mysterio.
Okay.
Because Mysterio would have been great too, but I was just like, wait, I'm pretty sure Mysterio was in the last one. But
Yeah. But before.
like, all of my Spider-Man stuff was actually bought and given to me by Frank Killian, our lead guitar player. He just randomly sometimes will show up and be like, "Hey, here," and I just put it on the wall.
You have a great bandmate right there.
No, me and Frank are the only two original members left. I mean, we've been together since the very beginning, and all of those guys are my brothers. But me and Frank have been together for over 6 years now, playing music.
Hell yeah. So before we go and we digress any further, I want to thank you so much for your time today and for an awesome discussion. Like, we started this interview and who knew where, like your songwriting process, we started this interview, who knew where it was going to end up. Is there just anything else that you would like to promote for Love the Hate with the release of, like, when can we get a full-length album and all that stuff?
So we literally tomorrow we're going back into the studio to record the follow-up single. So maybe by the time this interview actually gets published, tracking's already going to be done for the follow-up. So you'll hear new music from Love the Hate before this year is out. I am cautiously, optimistically targeting first quarter 2022 for an EP of all new material. And yeah, man, I'm really excited for what the future holds. Being on Billboard right now is surreal, seeing my band's name next to all these people that I grew up listening to and that I'm fans of or have been fortunate enough to share the stage with is amazing. And I can't wait for the future, and you're definitely going to be hearing more from Love the Hate very soon.
I look forward to hearing it, but thank you so much. Everybody, Love the Hate. Check out the newest single, Solid Ground. If you haven't already, this is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.